A pardoner from Roncesvalles rode with the summoner. He had just returned from Rome and traveled as his close friend and companion.
With him there rode a fine pardoner of Roncesvalles, his friend and his companion, who had come straight from the court of Rome.
He sang loudly, "Come hither, love, to me." The summoner joined him in deep harmony. Together they were louder than a trumpet.
Very loud he sang, "Come hither, love, to me." This summoner harmonized with him in a strong bass. There was never a trumpet of half so great a sound.
The pardoner's hair was yellow like wax. It hung smooth and thin in small strands over his shoulders.
This pardoner had hair as yellow as wax, but smooth it hung as does a clump of flax. By small strands hung such locks as he had, and he spread them over his shoulders, but thin it lay by strands one by one.
He did not wear a hood. He kept it in his bag to look fashionable and modern, riding bareheaded except for a small cap. He had bright, staring eyes like a hare.
But to make an attractive appearance he wore no hood, for it was trussed up in his knapsack. It seemed to him that he rode in the very latest style. With hair unbound, save for his cap, he rode all bareheaded. He had glaring eyes such as has a hare.
On his cap he wore a Veronica badge, showing a holy image. In his lap he carried a bag full of pardons from Rome. His voice was high and thin like a goat's.
He had sewn a Veronica upon his cap. Before him in his lap he had his knapsack brimful of pardons come all fresh from Rome. He had a voice as small as a goat has. He had no beard, nor never would have.
His face was smooth with no beard, and none would ever grow. Yet he was very skilled at his work as a pardoner.
His face was as smooth as if it were recently shaven. I believe he was a eunuch or a homosexual. But as to his craft, from barrack to where there was no other pardoner like him.
In his pouch he carried a pillowcase he claimed was the Virgin Mary's veil, and a piece of sail from St. Peter's boat.
For in his pouch he had a pillowcase, which he said was Our Lady's veil. He said he had a piece of the sail that St. Peter had, when he went upon the sea, until Jesus Christ took him.
He also showed a metal cross decorated with stones, and kept pig bones in glass, pretending they were holy relics.
He had a cross of Latin, brass-like alloy, covered with stones, and in a glass container he had pig's bones. But with these relics, when he found a poor parson dwelling in the countryside.
With these fake relics and clever flattery, he earned more money in one day than a poor country priest earned in 2 months.
In one day he got himself more money than the parson got in 2 months, and thus, with feigned flattery and tricks, he made fools of the parson and the people.
Still, in church he read lessons well. He sang the offertory beautifully to impress people before preaching.
But truly to tell at the last, he was in church a noble ecclesiast. He well knew how to read a lesson or a story, but best of all he sang an offertory, for he knew well when that song was sung.
He preached smoothly to earn money. That is why he sang loudly and happily, knowing it would help him collect silver.
He must preach and well smooth his speech to win silver, as he very well knew how. Therefore he sang the more merrily and loud.
Now the narrator says he has described their ranks, clothes, and reasons for gathering at the Tabard Inn in Southwark.
Now have I told you truly, briefly, the rank, the dress, the number, and also the cause why this company was assembled in Southwark at this fine hostelry that is called the Tabard, close by the Bell. But now it is time to tell to you.
He will next explain what they did that night at the inn, and then tell about the pilgrimage journey.
How we conducted ourselves that same night, when we had arrived in that hostelry. And after that, I will tell of our journey and all the rest of our pilgrimage.
He asks listeners not to be offended if he repeats their exact words, even if they sound rude or improper.
But first I pray you, of your courtesy, that you do not attribute it to my rudeness, though I speak plainly in this matter, to tell you their words and their behavior, nor though I speak their words accurately.
When retelling a story, a person must repeat the exact words spoken. Changing them would mean telling the story wrongly.
For this you know as well as I. Whoever must repeat a story after someone, he must repeat as closely as ever he knows how every single word, if it be in his power. although he may speak ever so rudely and freely, or else he must tell his tale inaccurately, or make up things, or find new words.
A person must tell the truth, even about his own brother. Christ spoke plainly, and Plato said words should honestly match the actions.
He may not refrain from telling the truth. Although he were his brother, he must as well say one word as another. Christ himself spoke very plainly in Holy Writ, and you know well it is no rudeness. Also Plato says, whosoever knows how to read him.
The narrator asks forgiveness if he has not arranged everyone by proper rank in the story. He says he is not very clever.
The words must be closely related to the deed. Also I pray you to forgive it to me, although I have not set folk in order of their rank here in this tale as they should stand. My wit is short, you can well understand.